Okay, so in this one we're going to bring in some effects to put alongside our track at the beginning here. So I'm going to begin by adding in a new audio track. Put it to the bottom here, and I'm going to rename it and call it FX1. And I'm going to add another one, and I'm going to call it FX2. And for both of these I'm going to put a high pass filter on them because they're going to be sort of high sweeping sounds, and we don't really want any of the low end muddying up our mix. So I'm going to put a high pass filter on both channels, and I'm going to cut them at about 800 hertz or so. And then for this first one, I'm just going to go to our samples folder, and I'm going to bring in the filter noise sweep short. And I'm just going to drop it to come in just at the 17th bar here. Let's bring back the volume. Okay, so you can hear that sort of dips at the end there. We don't really want that last section, so I'm just going to highlight that and delete. Let's move it across. So that just goes up to the peak of the filter or the noise and just stops. And so to compensate for that sort of stop, we need to send a bit of this signal to a delay unit. So I'm going to send it to our C, our ping pong delay. So if we just up that to about minus 18 dB or so. So you get a bit of a tail once that filter finishes. And I'm just going to finish that off with a crash cymbal. So if we go to our samples, there's a file called crash cymbal. I'll just drop that in there. Okay, and then I'm just going to duplicate that exact same scenario to happen just at our breakdown at bar 33. Okay, and then I'm just going to move this filter noise sweep. I'm going to have it coming in right at the end of our breakdown, just before our main riff, and I'm going to send a sweep up from 0 dB to full of signal of this filter noise sweep to our long delay, which is the one with the sidechain compressor on it. So if I go to send B and make an automation point and just push that right up to the top for just before it comes in at the main riff. You can hear that tail there goes on into the main riff of the tune and gets sidechain compressed. And then if we just go to our FX track 2, I'm going to go to our samples folder again. I'm going to grab the delay sweep.aif. And if we just go into there, we'll turn the warp off on it. And I'm just going to move it across to just this main riff section. I'll bring the volume back on this track as well. So I'm just going to have the peak of it just before the actual thing kicks in. I think it just it takes over if it's too loud at that point there, and I think it just works well. Just hearing the tail from that build up. I'm just going to send a bit of this also to the long delay. So if I just turn this on and turn the send up, the send about, put it right up to about minus 6 dB. Okay, that sounds good there. So the next thing we're going to do is put a reversed vocal sound in. This is quite a commonly used technique in trancey styles of music. It's like a reversed vocal put through a reverb, and then you reverse that reverb. So I'm going to begin by inserting a new audio track. I'm just going to call this, call it temp for now, because it's going to be our temporary audio track. We'll insert another one and we'll call it reversed vocal. Reverse vocal reverb. And if we go up to our samples folder, there is already a reverse vocal sample here. And it's just a sample taken from an a cappella. So if we just drop it into our track, so it's just a reverse vocal from an a cappella, and it's just a quick wee snippet. And what we're going to do with this is put a reverb unit onto this track. So if we go up to Live Devices, get a reverb unit and drop it on. I'm just going to turn off the input processing, and we're going to turn the size. Set the size to about 12 or so. And we'll turn the dry wet up to 100%. We just want to get a nice lengthy delay. So if we turn the decay time up to about 11 seconds. Okay, so you can hear that that's a very long tail on that one. I'm just going to turn the quality of this or the reverb unit up to high, because we want a good quality one, and we're going to be bouncing it down, so it doesn't really matter how high the quality is for now. I'm just going to turn the volume of this track down as well, because it was peaking a wee bit. Okay, so that's perfect there. What we need to do now is this reverb vocal track that we set up. We need to select this temporary track as its input. So if we go to the external in and select the temp, and if we turn the record arm button on, and now if we just click just before that, hit our record button and then hit play. And then this is going to record in our reversed vocal, which has been put through the reverb unit. And once it's finished, once the reverb tail is finished, then we take this reverse vocal, and if we can actually now just delete this temporary project, and we don't need any input coming through in there now. We should be able to just solo and listen to this. Okay, so if we just double click on this audio file now, we can go to the reverse button. And now we've got a nice reversed reverb, and we can just cut it off just short of the end there. And we can use this to sweep into different parts of our tune. So if I just move this over to the first change on our tune, I just want to get this to snap a bit better. Okay, so I'm just going to put a auto filter onto this track as well. Let's drop it on, and I'm going to put a high pass filter. I'm going to keep it quite high. Put it at about 800 Hertz. And then I'm going to send some of this to the long delay unit. So if I just turn that up. Okay, so we'll just hear what that sounds like with the rest of the tune. We'll turn the volume up of it slightly as well. It's going to send the full signal to that long delay unit. going to use it to reverse into the breakdown here at bar 33. Okay, so I'm just going to turn down the amount that is being sent to that long delay. And again, maybe just bring down the rest of the volume. Okay, so you can experiment with changing the size of the reverb. For this trick that I just showed you with the reverse vocal, changing the length of the tail, you're going to get a longer wind up to the vocal itself. And if you actually have any acapellas that you want to put into this, you can do this reverse through this reverse vocal trick to wind yourself into that actual acapella. It sounds really good. In the next tutorial, we're going to be continuing on arranging out the rest of our track on from